And welcome back to episode 2 of Relentless for a Cure here on Relentless Talk Radio. I'm talking with the men and women of the year candidates for the LLS and Leukemia Lymphoma Society's Man and Woman of the Year Award this year. And I have Dr. Tony Lee here talking about his platform this year. Tony, I'm like super excited that we had an opportunity to do this interview today. We've met in other capacities, and it's just so nice to get to know you better. Can you tell everybody who you are and what it is that you do?
My name is Tony Lee. I'm a physical medicine and rehab physician at Synergy Rehabilitation and Wellness Center in Scottsdale. So I specialize in non-operative sports medicine, musculoskeletal injuries, and spine care.
Awesome. And you're here in the Scottsdale area, correct?
I am. Our office is located over at Pima and Villa de Ventura in the Pima Medical Pavilions. Yes.
So why did you decide to accept the nomination for the LLS Men and Women of the Year Award?
My why goes back many years, actually. I've actually been involved with the local LLS chapter for about 8 years as a volunteer with different campaigns for other people's Man and Women of the Year campaign. I originally got involved because a good friend of mine in college was diagnosed with leukemia when we were about, we're 22. No, around 22, 24 years of age. Someone that was very close to us back then. Unfortunately or fortunately, I got even more involved about almost 5 years ago in 2015 when my daughter was diagnosed with a disease called myelodysplastic syndrome, which is a precursor to AML, which is the leukemia that has the lowest survival rate or highest fatality rate, however you want to look at it. So I was lucky enough that I kind of had some knowledge about it through LLS, but then I guess fortunately and unfortunately it got me even more involved with it through her diagnosis, her treatment, and just our continuing to make people aware of what's going on.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I've met your daughter and she's very sweet and vivacious and full of energy. So how is she doing now?
She's doing well. She is now 4 years post-transplant, which is great. She is thriving, physically doing great. We took her at the age of 5 is when she was treated. And hopefully you can hear me. I think I might be having a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you have a little bit of a probably funky internet connection, but you're good. I can still hear you.
Okay. So she, like you said, I think you may have met her, but physically she's doing great. It took a while though, because when you take someone at that developmental time of 5 and 6 years of age and really kind of slow their progress down, things kind of definitely changes for her, what she's trying to do and where she's going. But at this point, we couldn't be happier where she is, the treatment that she's received, and just the support overall.
I think it's awesome. So cognitively, she probably had a little bit of slowdown because when everybody else was learning, she was saving her life.
Correct. I mean, she pretty much missed half of kindergarten and half of first grade when she wasn't really interacting at all. So if you think about that, that's when kids are forming friendships, learning how to play really, and plus being the only child made things a little bit harder for her.
Sure.
But like I said, then she's kind of coming into her own now where she's trying to play sports. She missed that time where, everybody who has kids around 5 or 6, they're playing soccer, they're playing like 5 different sports, and she wasn't able to do all that. But at this point, she's playing, and she took up a sport that I would have never thought that she would have played because I had no background in it itself. True background is that she's playing ice hockey. Of all places, she's playing ice hockey here in Arizona.
Isn't it funny? I ended up being a gymnast. My mother was like, "Where did that come from?" I totally get it. So, yeah. What's the goal and objective for your campaign? I know you've done the Sophie's golf tournament many years in a row, but what's your goal this year?
Well, I mean, there's always the financial goal, and like everyone else that does these competitions, we're all competitive. So we always I'm missing out on you, but I guess I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you're doing okay. I can hear you.
So the financial goal is always we always want to beat records, right? We're all that competitive driven people. That's why we're asked to do this competition. At the same time, with everything going on, we've probably, of all the classes, I say classes because I look at this like through other leadership groups, like, we're the group that got nominated this year. And so we'll always be that class that went through COVID together. as a class, we have our own goals, but so there's those goals that you want to break records for sure.
Right.
The goal has always been outside of that is just to continue to raise awareness for the leukemia, lymphomas, and all other blood cancers. For me, a big part of, if we can get people to be aware, just to be bone marrow donors, or at least to get tested to be a bone marrow donor, that's always a great thing, because that's something that my daughter required. She needed a bone marrow transplant, and we actually never found one. I'm not sure if I ever told you that. We never found a true bone marrow match. Out of the registries in the States, Europe, and Asia, we ended up using cord blood transplants. So.
Wow. Well, my dad had several pheresis treatments where his plasma was replaced and several blood transfusions. And, every time someone gives blood or plasma or marrow, you are saving a life.
Well,
100%.
I think it's something that's easily that we can do, something that often gets overlooked. Cord blood transplants, or getting tested to be a bone marrow is just a simple swab in the mouth. And how people now get that extracted for the transplants is so easy. So.
Oh, that's good to know. That's absolutely good to know. So you have some event and activities coming up. I know you're doing your golf tournament. It's happening on June 1st, which is a Monday at the Ancala Country Club, right?
Correct. So we're having the 5th annual Sophie's Day Golf Tournament at Ancala Country Club June 1st. We did the first golf tournament the same day she was discharged from the hospital, in 2016. So, and that was just by chance, happened to be that day. A good friend of mine wanted to host a golf tournament for us at the time, and we just have done it ever since, every year, with the proceeds benefiting the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And so this year, a little different though, because obviously with the restrictions, we weren't sure if we were going to do the golf tournament, but with the fact that people are playing golf, if we can practice proper social distancing and follow the rules of of the local clubs, I think we're still going to be able to host the golf tournament with just a slight changes though.
Well, I think
that'll be June 1st.
We're lucky that Governor Ducey allowed us to keep the golf tournament, the golf courses open and the hiking areas open, because I think people would be a lot nuttier if it weren't for golf and hiking, for sure, 100%. Don't you think?
For sure. Yeah, getting outside, especially for what you do, it just helps your overall well-being, and that's physically being out there, but also I think the golf tournament also will be mentally very helpful for a lot of people, just doing something that we haven't been able to do pretty much for the past 8 weeks.
100%. So Joan Kaminsky from the LLS is saying, Tony and Michelle, thank you for your support of the Man and Woman of the Year campaign, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Arizona chapter. So thank you, Joan, for tuning in. So how can people reach out to you? I've got your telephone number, 480-459-1205, scrolling on the bottom of the screen, as well as Sophie's Day. Sophie's Day golf@gmail.com. I scroll through. Is there any other way they can? You have a Facebook page, right? You have a.
Yes, I do have a Facebook page. My campaign is part of a group called Team Be Positive, which was formed this past year as a legacy group that we're going to continue on through the years. So we do have a Team BEE Positive Facebook page that has a list of all of our events. It's not so much about me, and I don't have my own page. We have a team page that we were going to continue every year at this point as we bring on new candidates, to just make sure that we continue to spread the word of my word and my mission, the mission of someone named Brandy Hunt, who was very influential in the formation of Team Be Positive. So that's probably the best way that people can get a hold of me there.
Well, that's wonderful. And so I wanted to say that I had pictures that I was hoping to show of you, but my morning got a little screwy today. And I really feel compelled to tell, the folks that are listening to this video what happened. My mom, we just recently lost my dad to lymphoma on February 15th. And my mom went to Home Depot during senior hour. She got herself some flowers to put in the garden just to cheer herself up. She's been on lockdown. She's high risk since COVID started. And just having lost her husband of 64 years. And so she went out into the garden, and the entire garden was full of forget-me-not flowers. And forget-me-not flowers were on every tree.
It's amazing that he continued to think about her during all that time. That's why we do what we do for our loved ones.
It's amazing. And so my mom and I are standing there, and she's bawling and I'm bawling, and I'm like, do you think he went out there in the middle of the winter and threw some seed down?
Yeah.
Or do you think he's making them grow from heaven? Like, what do you think? And we actually think he's making them grow from heaven. And so,
I think that's a good thing to believe in.
That's a good thing to believe in, right? So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that next year, your listeners should know that I'm also a Woman of the Year candidate.
Yes.
I'll be running next year. I'll be doing a project called Micalizzi Gives, which is art related, but also I'll be doing a poker run with Buddy Stubbs, Harley Davidson, which is my partner. So if any of you listeners are Harley Davidson people or riders, definitely save the date for next year. I really think that one of the things that's cool, one of the things we didn't talk about was, why did you decide to move forward during COVID anyway? I know that I decided to postpone until next year because my projects were kind of so people related that I felt we'd have more bang for the buck next year, and that I would build momentum this year. Why did you decide to go forward?
Well, like I said, I've been involved with LLS for a while, and there have been times where I put it off for other reasons, but at this point, I realized, I think even more so now, is with everything going on, we need to continue to raise awareness, continue to raise funds that obviously the attention is being brought elsewhere, but at the same time, we still need to continue treating blood cancers, researching blood cancers, because people are still being diagnosed. So we need to make sure that people, not that they're forgetting, but we want to make sure that we are still out there. LLS is still having the funds that they can use as people are continuing to being diagnosed. People they didn't stop being diagnosed during all this time. Then there were people that still needed the services of LLS. So I thought it was important that we continue to raise awareness and raise funds for them during this time. And I thought the best way would be to continue this at this time of the year.
And that's exactly why I made the decision to interview you guys and continue to use my platform to shout out the LLS, because I think that actually people need LLS more so this year than ever, because a lot of those folks who have lymphoma and leukemia, like my dad, would not have been able to go into work. And so there's additional financial strain that LLS is actually absorbing some of that strain from people, and has created a fund to help people that are affected by COVID. So Tony, I'm really impressed with you as a human being. We met a couple of years ago, and I've always thought very highly of you. And I really want to say how much I appreciate you carrying the torch during this COVID time period, and how much I look forward to coming and doing an interview at Sophie's day golf tournament and shouting out what you're doing that day.
Yeah, we'd love to have you there. And we're doing our annual ball drop that same day, where people can buy balls that will drop down from the bucket of a fire truck. And the closest to the pin, actually we'll have 40 or 50 winners. We'll have $10,000 worth of prizes at that time as well.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for the work that you do for LLS, for the work that you do as a surgeon, and for being an amazing, fantastic father. We need more of those.
Thanks, Michelle. You're doing great work yourself.
I hope you have a really good day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, guys, so there's the episode 2 of the Relentless for a Cure series. I'll be interviewing next Wednesday 2 more candidates for Relentless for a Cure. It's basically telling the story of the Man and the Woman of the Year for LLS gala that's going to be coming up in June, I believe. June 27th, I believe, is the date. I'll have to double check that. But definitely tune in again. And if you're listening to this and you're one of Tony's benefactors, please do take a look at the telephone number, the email, and the Facebook page below, and donate. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a really great day.